So if you've been following the channel for any length of time, you should know by now that I am paralyzed. I do have a disability. So anytime I do anything tech related or gaming related, I always do it from the aspect of how well it works for me. Because if it works for me, it should work for someone that doesn't have a disability as well. Anytime I've worked with companies in the past, whether you know Fi-Fi or Miano or Elgato or whatever the company may be, or ObsBot, as I am currently recording from an ObsBot camera, and I am now a brand ambassador for them. But anytime I work with these companies, I always try to work from an aspect, will it be useful to me and how easy is it for me to use? I know I recently got a keyboard from Royal Clutch. It's the L75 and it includes macro keys. Macro keys are important to me because again, I don't have finger usage, so I'm buying those macro keys to be useful for me, whether it's mouse function or things of that nature. And I've noticed a lot of times when it comes to software, the software is not as polished as I would like for it to be because in the instance of this keyboard, it doesn't allow me to use things like right click, left click to be assigned to those macro keys. So, like I said, having companies who are willing to create software based around their products, that way they make it more accessible is a really big thing for me. And anytime I, like I said, anytime I work with a company, I always try to reach out to them and say, hey, can you add this to this software to make this more accessible for myself? And not only for myself, but other people as well. This is Spinal Cord Injury Awareness Month, which is September. And it is super important to me. And if you want to check out some more content about Spinal Cord Injury Awareness Month, be sure to subscribe to my wife and my channel. It is Heath and Amanda. I'll leave a link down in the comment section below if you want to check that channel out. It is pretty much everything about our life, about paralysis and things of that nature. So be sure to go watch it. But in regards to tech and gaming, companies need to make changes to their software. A lot of these changes can be added relatively easy inside of the program. They add all sorts of other things, but a few simple lines of code can make the difference between someone to be able to play a game a lot more easily. There are companies out there who make accessible items, accessible tech for people with disabilities. Microsoft and Logitech are some of the companies that come to my mind. But again, those things are sometimes they're really expensive, and not everyone has access to those products. Another thing that comes to my mind, for example, is the quad stick. The quad stick is basically designed for someone who's a quadriplegic like myself, who doesn't have any hand function or has very limited hand function like myself. And the bad part about it is it's like $1,500 or it can be even more. So a lot of those options aren't available to people like myself, for example, who's on a fixed income. And that is beyond my scope of being able to afford something like that. So using software to be able to control things or being able to use software to improve already existing tech is something that I really, really look forward to when I'm using products or using keyboards or mice or whatever it is. Back when I started streaming, I originally started back in 2018, but my computer really wasn't worth the crap back then. I didn't have the option to be able to, stream. My computer was crashing and stuff like that. So I really didn't get into streaming until after I was on setup makeover and got a new PC. And so around 2019, I started streaming, and I didn't have access to things like Stream Decks and lighting access and things of that nature. So one particular YouTuber in my mind that I guess that's why I've always been kind of stuck on his content is Gail Level. Gail gifted me a copy of VoiceBot, and he did a video about how to control your stream using VoiceBot, and I was totally amazed. I could change scenes with it. It didn't require me to use mouse clicks. And there's a whole host of software that is available out there to be able to make life easier for someone with a disability. Now you have StreamerBot. Not only that, you have other options as well. I now have a Stream Deck. I can control my lighting and pretty much anything that goes on with my stream with just a simple touch of a button. So having software that is polished and works well is really important for someone with a disability like myself. So there are a lot of nifty programs out there that allow you to do things that software that comes with tech doesn't do. For example, I use Auto Hotkey. Auto Hotkey allows me to bind things on my keyboard that is not supported by Royal Clutch software. It allows me to use scroll up, scroll down, and left and right click functions using a macro key. So there's a lot of developers out there that are making products, maybe not necessarily for accessibility options, but they offer accessibility to people. So anytime like I said, anytime I work with a company, I want to see products that are available. And sometimes, I get that it is more expensive sometimes to make products more accessible for people with disabilities. But again, when it comes to the software aspect of it as well, they could use coding and programming inside of that software to make certain things more accessible. Uh, Long story short of this video is the fact that regardless of who you are, regardless of where you are in the tech industry, whether you're on the gaming aspect of it or where you're actually on the physical aspect of creating products, keep in mind that tech and gaming should be available to everyone. And I hope companies see this and know or realize that simple changes in tech and gaming can make all the difference in someone's life. But anyway, y'all, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you learned something from it. And as always, I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Much love.